This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, hello everyone. Very good morning to all. So in last session, we discussed something about the forms, right? So and we seen an input field and its attributes, especially the attribute is type, and what are the values of the type we seen, and there are a lot of values for the type attribute, and based on the value, the way of presentation is changing, right? So if you can take a password, or if you can take a s- submit button, or if you are taking some other, so input type number, input type range, like this we tested with some attributes. Based on our requirement, we can go with our attributes. Let me create a small form by combining all the fields. Okay, so we have so many fields, right? We have select boxes, we have drop down boxes, we have check boxes. So by combining all these fields, let me create a small form. So after that, we can see a login form, kind of a contact form. So these are some common things where people can use in real time. So these three forms are common in every website maybe. One is going to be login form, one is going to be register form, and one more is going to be contact form or inquiry form. Some people will call this also inquiry form. So this is all about the forms creation. How can we create a form? That's the question first thing. So the forms are always created with the help of HTML. So is there any other programming language for creating a form? There is no other programming language. HTML is the only programming language for creating the forms. So after forms created, we have to design it. To design the forms, we can see only CSS as an alternative to design the forms. There is no other technologies we are having. Okay, so let me take the basic skeleton and let me create a registration form. So in this registration form, I want to take the fields like this: username, email, mobile. Just I want to take password, confirm password. So this is exactly, and I want to take gender. Gender is going to be radio button. Gender is going to be radio button. As of now, all fields only, but this is a radio button. I want to take hobbies, like checkboxes, hobby 1, hobby 2, hobby 3, like checkboxes. I want to take a state as a drop down box. Generally, I want to display 3 to 4 states in the drop down where you have to pick the state, right? Exactly. What else we can take? Address. Address is going to be generally text area. So let me take a form by creating all these fields, and finally I need to have a submit button, right? This is what exactly we are going to take it. So let me create a form. So and let me create a form and let me save this into your working directory. HTML open, HTML close. First, let me save the file in your working directory. I'm going to save the file as register.html. Okay, the file is created, register.html. In this, take the basic structure. Root element is placed after that second root element. This is going to be the title open, title close. These are all the head section. So title is going to be register here. Simply I'm writing a title as register here. This is going to be body tag open, body tag close. Let us have a heading. This is also, I just want to take h1 tag open, just h1 tag close. So this is the basic skeleton. Let me run the file up to here. If you can run the file up to here, now you can check the code. So this is what exactly. Now you have to create a form and you have to place the form here in the place. Okay, let me create the form here first. So I told you yesterday, every form field should be placed into the form tag. If you are not using form tag, this is not going to be works for you. And what is the form method? I want to take form method as post. Why? Because post we have to take. Remember, yesterday I told you a little difference between the get method and post method. Get method will append the data in URL. For example, in this form, you are entering your usernames and passwords. The data may be appended in URL, right? If data is appended in URL, it may be stored in bookmarks. Sometimes it may be saved in history, and sometimes the URLs may be hacked in the history. So it is not a good idea, right? So you cannot use the get method whenever you are dealing with sensitive kind of information. Actually, this is related to backend developer, because I know a little bit backend, right? That's the reason I'm telling you the method of a form always should be post whenever you are dealing with sensitive information like username, email, passwords, or bank account details, and whatever it may be. The form must and shouldly post. And action, right now I don't know where to go. Just let me provide the action as empty. If you can provide action empty, you will be in the same page. No, you know where to send the data, then you can provide that action. You want to send the data to Java, .NET, Python, PHP. Yeah. Remember, Java, .NET, Python, PHP. They're all backend. For all these backend technologies, who is the front end? HTML is the only technology. HTML is the only technology to be a front end. We don't have any others here, right? So now you can see form tag open, form tag close. Just I'm going to make something, a table. Generally, these are the fields I want to take here, right? You can see the following fields: username, email, mobile, password. We have to take these fields. Let me take a table. I don't have design right now. That's why I'm taking a table. So let me take a table.
Hello.
Hello everyone. Sorry for the inconvenience. Just I want to create the form, right? So these are the fields we have to take for creating the form, and just I have did a table. Inside the table, yesterday, if you can see the yesterday's form, just we taken a form with the break tags to bring it into next line, right? But today I want to align the label and the input field into a TD. So one row contain two TDs. One TD is for label, other TD is for input form field.
Hello,
Now
sir.
you can check this
We
in
cannot
this.
hear you, sir.
Yeah, carry on. I didn't share you. I shared you.
Hello.
My screen is already in sharing. Can you check it? Yeah, please. I'm stopping the sharing and I'm resharing it again. Yeah, now you can check it again. Right. Are you able to see now?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me, Kiran?
Hello.
Hello? Oh God, what happened? Hello, Kiran, can you hear me?
Sir, we cannot hear you, sir.
Hey, hello everyone. Can you hear me now? So guys, can you able to hear me? Yes, okay. Thank you then. Thank you very much. Maybe right guys. Here I am going to take two fields. Can you check this? Table. Every table contain many rows, but each and every row is going to take it into two TDs. Now I can check this. The first TD is for label, LABEL label, LABEL label. In this label, I am writing the label field as username. In this TD, I want to take the input field directly. So this is the TD, right? In this TD, let me take an input field. I'm going to take input type equal to, because we don't know design. So I want to align my form somewhat neatly. That's the reason I'm just going with the table. So this is going to be type text, and ID and name attributes are required right now. ID is for JavaScript purpose, name is for server side purpose. So ID, uname, and name equal to uname. Name is an attribute. For this I'm taking the same value. Right now you can check this up to here. If you can check up to here, refresh the page, just username, and you have to enter the username field. Perfect. Now this TR is completed. The next TR I'm going to take one more TR.
Sir, it is
In this
not audible,
TR,
sir. We cannot hear you.
sorry, cannot having any problem, Kiran? Okay, then fine. So now what I want to take here. So this is one more tier. In this tier, again, I'm going to take a TD open, TD close. Exactly. So in this TD, I'm taking a label. So always it is a good practice to open the tags, close the tags immediately. Some people will write like this, LABEL label. They won't write something here. They will go for email, and they are going for, right, LABEL label, something like this. It is not a good idea. Whenever you are opening a tag, immediately close it. This is a good idea. This is a good way of learning the courses, right? This is going to be email. Here I'm going to make something called input type equal to text and name equal to email, ID equal to email, and ID is going to be email exactly. Yeah, now you can check this second field also place it, but you can see there is some disturbance. Why this field went like this, why this field is went like this? Maybe the reason, some tags, some fields may be open, may not be closed properly. Can you see, this is the label. I told you label should be in one field and input field should be in one field, right? What happened here, we kept both in the same TD. That is not good thing. So there's a reason you have to check it every time. Write two lines, check the output, write two lines, check the output. I'm writing this group of statement, I'm checking the output. If I have any problem, so I can easily understand this is the statements causes disturbance, right? So we can easily understand. Refresh the page. Now you can see text boxes are aligned properly. Now in the same manner, I'm going to create one more, that is going to be password and confirm password. Let me take the field as password. Input type is going to be password, and name pwd, ID is also pwd. Just check this, write one statement, check the output, right? One, initially we have to do like this. After getting some experience, we can write all the code and we can check the output. But generally what people will do, they will type all the code, they will execute the output. They are having some errors, they don't know why the error is coming, from which line the error is coming, how to solve the error, we cannot understand. So it's my suggestion, write step by step. No need to write all the lines at a time. Write two lines, check the output, write two lines, check the output, so that if you have any error, we can easily understand where the error was, right? Okay, so now you can check the one more field is going to be confirm password. Now you can see I'm writing this CONFIRM, confirm password is a field. Let me take the type as a password, name equal to CPWD, and ID is also CPWD. You can take any name, but remember carefully, while you are providing the names for the input field, you cannot provide the same name for every input field. This is emailer, this should be some different name. But ID and name may be same, that's not a problem, because ID purpose is JavaScript and name purpose is server side, right? So whenever you are creating input form fields, the name of the each and every input form field should be in a queue. In a queue means you cannot duplicate the name of the input. Why? Because if you can provide the same name, then what happen, email value overrides with password, password value overrides CPWD, CPWD value may override the mobile, something. This is maybe a very good problem, this may cause serious problem. So you cannot take the same way. Now finally I want to take here mobile. So mobile, mobile, this is going to be text, and this is also mobile, or this is going to be mobile. And one more thing, always try to take lowercase letters here. You can take capital letters also, that will be work, but the standard is here lowercase letters. Sometimes the name of the field may be two names. For example, ID, you taken something like this, user space name I am taking. Can you see the name of the input field, you taken user space name. Spaces are not encouraged here. Remember carefully, if you can take space, what is the meaning of it? For this input field you provided two names, user name, so it is not a good idea, right? Don't provide hyphen symbols also, it is not valid. You can provide underscore symbol, that is valid. You cannot provide space, you cannot provide a hyphen symbols here. Underscore is valid. So, and moreover, try to take one name like this, you name something like this, you cannot provide any space. Sometimes if you may forget, before the double quote you are giving some space, this is also invalid. You cannot provide the space in between the double quotes, right? So this is also not valid. Name should be properly nested into the double quote or single quote. You can take a single quote also, we can nest it into it. These are the some guidelines while creating the forms. Otherwise, if you can provide the space, you cannot get the value. Remember, in server side you may not able to read the value, in a client side also you may not be able to read the value. In JavaScript also, if you have any spaces in these fields inside the double quote, don't provide any space. Sometimes we may forget and we may provide you some space here, unfortunately. So this is not the good thing. So the forms may not be processed if you are entering the data like that. Okay, now the next thing I am going to take it as a gender, gender, gender. See, gender should be okay, this is all fine. Gender is not a text box. Gender is a radio button. Try to see the radio button here. Be careful. I'm doing one small scenario. Try to check this. Label open, label close. Okay, label open, label close. This label is going to be male and this label is going to be female. 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 Can you see the output? Okay, we are getting male and female. But in that, in front of the male, you have to put a radio button. In front of the female, you have to put a radio button. So in this point of time, just in front of this male, in the label tag itself, I am writing input type. What is the input type you have to take? Radio you have to take. Now you can see radio selected. Now you have to take the same, right? Now you can go there, copy paste the same in front of the female also. Let us go there. I'm keeping the same in front of the female. Now you can check this. I selected male, I selected female. Can we select both options? Is it possible? No, right? You have to select at least only, not at least, you have to select only one option. So now you are able to select both the option. Is it a good thing? No. So you can submit a form by selecting both options, right? Definitely you have to make something here. So the only thing, you need to add an attribute called name attribute. Because of adding name attribute, that is going to be gone. Now let me take the name as gender. Now I'm taking the same name equal to GENDER, or else, okay, gender one, gender one, okay, gender two, gender one I'm taking. Okay na? So now you can check this. Now you can submit the same. Now you can see both are selected again. Remember carefully, I told you one point just before, every input form field should have a unique name, right? But in this special case, radio buttons, eh, how many radio buttons are you have? I don't know, but every radio button should have the same name. If we have same name, then only the things will be works for you. Now you can see I selected male. When I'm selected female, that should be deselected. Now you can see that is deselected, it is selected because of the same name. It is a special case. Remember carefully, whenever we are processing the radio buttons, so special cases like this, you should take the same name. For text boxes, you cannot take the same name. You have to take different names, guys, right? So this is the special case, remember. And one more thing, tell me please, in this username text box, you are entering a value. Email, you're entering a value. Password, you're entering a value. And mobile, you're entering a value. But in radio buttons, are you entering value? No, you're selecting the value. You're selecting the value. What is the value you selected? That value we have to send it to server, right? So to do this, we have to add a value attribute also. This is very, very important. Special case, this is also whenever we are handling with radio buttons. See, only thing guys, if you can enter, no problem. So input field, input type text, password, everywhere you can enter the value. Okay, the entered value will go to the server. But in radio buttons, checkboxes, drop down boxes, are you entering value? No, you are not entering, you are selecting the values. The selected value should go to database. That's the reason you have to take the value attribute. Let me take the value as male. Here also I'm taking this as a value as male. This is the case, small case you have to remember. Now you can submit the form. Whatever the value you submitted, that value will go to the server. Exactly, this is what exactly the concept of radio button. So now I want to take about one more thing, going to be checkboxes. Let me copy the same, right? This is going to be hobbies, HOBBIS, hobbies. But this is not a thing checkbox. This is going to be a checkbox. This is also going to be checkbox, CHECK, checkbox. In this checkbox also you're entering the same, right? Now this is going to be, let me take hobby one, HOBBI, hobby one, hobby two, something like this. Let me take something. You can later you can change the hobby one, hobby two to something like this. This is going to be hobby two. Let me have the value also. This is also required value, hobby two. Then what about the name? Actually, you are not a person to work with the hobbies, right? Now hobbies both should be selected. Now you can see, even though you can have same name in the radio buttons, their behavior is different. But you can see there's the same name I provided for the hobbies also, but it is not uh, overriding. I mean, you can see deselecting. If I can select female in this, male deselected. If you can click male, female deselected. But in whereas in hobbies, you can click hobby one, you can click hobby two, both are selected even though they have same name. This is the different case. Now you can check this and try to change the name of it, HOBBIS, hobby, right? Hobbies, you can take it as a name. and you can take this also hobbies. You have to take different fields here, exactly. But remember, if you are a server-side developer, how many hobbies are there? I don't know. Maybe you may have many number of hobbies here, hobbies 3, hobbies 4, hobbies 5, something like this. You may have many number of hobbies, maybe, I don't know. Whatever it may be, the selected values you have to get it right, definitely. If it is a server-side programming or JavaScript and whatever it may be, how many options are checked? So how many options are checked? This is called checking. So checked, the technical word is called checked and checked. Now you can see some of the options I want to deselect. I mean, I want to by default select. Now you can see there is an option. I want to, once page loaded, I radio buttons are nothing is selected. I want to select by default mail. If you want to select by default mail, there is an attribute called checked is an attribute. If you can write checked attribute, can you see on load the page, radio button, mail is selected. Now, if you remove this and if you can add this attribute here, now you can check this. Now female radio button is selected on load the page. This is the attribute. Actually, you cannot deselect, you cannot select the option by default. So user should select sometimes if required. Now you can see I'm coming to the first one. I'm writing the checked attribute. If you can refresh, the checkbox checked automatically when page loaded. You can deselect it also if you don't want. By default, I make an option called checked, something like this exactly. So this is one attribute called checked is an attribute. Because of adding this attribute, the input form field will be checked automatically, right? Sometimes we have to add this attribute programmatically also, that we can see, don't worry. So right now you can do anything, just I'm talking about the attributes. Whenever you are learning JavaScript, on submit the form, how can we read all the checkboxes value, all the checkboxes which are checked? Unchecked values I don't want. If you can check 4, I want to get all the 4 checkboxes values. But you know one more thing, if you are a server side developer, they will take this as an array. You can see they will take this as an array. Don't worry, this is not your responsibility, because it should hold all the hobbies. Why we will take an array? If you want to store multiple values in a single variable, we can use an array. So what I want to do, if we can select 4 hobbies, I want to save all 4 hobbies in an array. That's the reason this is going to be empty array. So how many options you selected, they're all going to be pushed into hobbies array. But you are not a backend developer, right? Don't worry, I'm going to remove this, right? It's not your responsibility. It will taken care by the backend developer. But in JavaScript, I will tell you the best way. How can we read the checkboxes values? How can we access the checkboxes values? We can see how can we access the radio button values, right? Anyhow, we have to discuss about JavaScript, right? Yeah. So this is checkboxes. Now I want to take one more thing called a drop down. So what is a drop down? I want to ask you to select the state. Okay, let me take first address after drop down. Let me go here. I'm just going to take this as address. Address is not a input field. Address should be a text area. Can you see? Text area open. Remember, text area is a non, sorry, container tag. It have open tag, it has closing tag. Exactly, you have to take like this. Input is close, self closing. Can you see? This is self closing. All input form fields are self closing, but text area is not a self closing. It has open tag, it has closing tag. Same, you can take id is equal to address address and name equal to address. Same, you can take it, no problem. You can check this exactly. This is address. And finally, I want to have a drop down box. Let me have some drop down box here. This is going to be state. I'm going to take something called state. This is drop down. Remember carefully, for working with the drop downs, we have a tag called select tag. Select is a container tag. It has open tag and close tag. So select ID, whatever the value you selected, that value also we have to send to database, right? Name, sorry, select ID equal to state and a name equal to state. Both I have added. Now you can go and check this. Now you can see there is, it is showing you a drop down something, but on clicking this we are not getting anything. So what I want to do, select box contain an element called option. So by using this option element, we can provide the options in the form field. Just option open, option close. This is an option open, option close. In this, I'm just writing 2 lines, select state. Just I want to write something called, yeah, refresh the page now. You can see this is going to be select state. Now inside of it, remember every option also should have value attribute, every option. Why? Because you are selecting the option, you are not entering the option, right? The selected option value should be going to the database. That's the reason we have to take it as a option. Now you can check this OPTION, option open, option close. Let me take two states here simply. Sorry, OPTION, option open, option close. This is going to be TS, something like I take it. So definitely it should contain value. So value, for example, here also you can take TS. Now you can see what you are able to see in the front end. Now you're able to see one value called TS. Now I want to make this as a full name, TELANGANA. Now you can check this. If you can refresh it, what will you able to see? TS Telangana. You will see Telangana. If you can select Telangana, what is the value will go to server? The value is a TS will go to the server, not Telangana. Telangana is just for your visibility purpose. On selecting Telangana, so this value, whatever the value you set here, right, that value will be saved in the database. No, sir, I want to make both the same. Yeah, you can make both the same, no problem. Like this, something like this, exactly. Same I want to take here also. Now you can take the same, right, exactly. You want to take one more option? Yeah, you can take this, Tamil Nadu, something like this. Yeah, exactly. If you can check this, this is the thing. And finally, we need to have a submit button. Let me add a submit button here. Now, table tier. Okay, let me take a tier finally. Tier open. So is this final tier contain a TD open, TD close, but this TD is empty. First TD is empty. We don't have any label for submit button. In the second TD, I want to take input type equal to submit. Now you can see input type. Remember, if you want to save the data to database, the form type should be always submit. If you can take button also, but button is not a good idea. You have to take something like this, exactly. Input type equal to submit, and value is an attribute equal to register to display on the button. Now you can see register button is displayed on the screen. Now you can enter the data. I'm entering some data. How do I know my form is working or not? Now I'm entering something. Okay, I selected something. You can select two, three hobbies also. You can select hello. You can select some state. Okay, now you are submitting. On submit the page, the data should be escaped from the form fields. If data is escaped, yeah, your form is submitted. If your data is not submitted, what is the meaning of it, right? Something went wrong. Remember, one point I want to tell you at the end of it. If you want to create a form, remember carefully, any form, I don't know, it may be login form, contact form, subscription form, inquiry form, whatever it could be, that should be inside the form tag. If there is no form tag, there is no use of the form you created. Just now you created a very big form. I'm removing the form. I'm removing the form, and I'm removing the closing tag also. Right now you created a form, right, without form tag. This is useless. Even though if you can submit, it can't go anywhere. Now you can see I'm going to refresh the page. You can enter some data. Even though if you can submit, it cannot go anywhere. You cannot go anywhere, exactly. You can check this, exactly what is going to be happen. You're writing something. Now you can see submit this. On submit the button, are you going anywhere? I'm clicking the submit button. It is not submitting my form data. Why? Because remember, if you want to handle the form without form tag, you cannot do anything. Not only in HTML, anywhere. So for the backend programming languages, Java, .NET, Python, form is common. Same form is common. But if you want to submit to server, there should be form tag. Otherwise, the form you created is useless without form tag. It's very, very important. Form handling is all about this is okay, right? So what I will do in next session, we can plan how to create some other forms like login forms, contact forms, inquiry forms, and all we can see. Okay, right.
This conference will now be recorded.
Oh, recorded, not recorded. Recording.